So the main focus of the channel has been all about the iPad Pro for a bit over a year now at this point. But if you guys have been following me, you guys know that I've always had a work laptop with me. You know, I started off with the Dell Latitude, then at another job they gave me a IBM Lenovo ThinkPad, and then finally, now with this current job that I have, they gave me kind of free range to get whatever I wanted, right? Obviously, to a certain extent, I can't go get a maxed out $5,000 computer, but I ended up going with this MacBook Air 2020. Right? And I thought really long and hard about actually getting this thing versus a Windows machine, because Windows has been a little bit better with me on the corporate world and the corporate side of, you know, America and business and all that good stuff. So when I went with the MacBook Air 2020, I was definitely a little bit hesitant. But I did end up going with not the entry-level MacBook Air, but the one right above it. So it is the i5. I wanted to go with the i5 instead of the i3 because I thought, hey, let me get a tiny bit more power for that extra $100. And then it also doubled the storage from 256 to 512. So it's the i5, 512 gigs of storage, and then only 8 gigs of RAM. And keep that in mind for the remainder of this video. And in case you guys don't want to watch until the end of the video, spoiler alert, I cannot recommend this computer to literally anybody. I've been using this computer since June 10th, and I can confidently say that I cannot recommend this computer to anybody. I just can't do it, and I'm about to explain to you why. So let's get the spec sheet out of the way, right? Because I don't want this whole video to be about specs. So I got the 512 SSD hard drive, the Intel 10th Gen i5, 8 gigabytes RAM. It has the Magic Keyboard, the new revamped keyboard, which actually is pretty pleasant to type on. The speakers are really nice. Still has the potato cam of the 720p. So I mean, FaceTime and video chat is fine. It gets the job done, especially if you have light on. But you don't buy this for the webcam. You don't really buy any computer for the webcam, I don't think. And the next thing you look at with Apple computers is the quality, right? Apple is known for their quality products. That's why the starting price of an Apple laptop is $1,000, maybe $900, depending if you go to back to school deals and things like that. But you'll never find a brand new $400, $500 Apple computer straight from Apple's website. And the main reason is just because build quality and obviously the logo that you got on the back of it. You know, from an aesthetic perspective, this computer's gorgeous, right? I love the metallic look, the aluminum look. The space gray, it's very sleek, it's very thin, it's very minimal. It's kind of just, you know, a canvas to get your work done on. There isn't anything kind of screaming at your face. So a lot of people like that. They like that minimalistic, simple look. And I am one of those people. I think this computer looks great. And even though it kept that 13-inch screen and didn't kind of expand it like they did with the 16-inch MacBook, something about the screen still looks very premium. It doesn't look old, it doesn't look outdated. Yeah, the bezels aren't tiny like a lot of the new Windows laptops that are coming out with almost no bezels, but something about how it's done, maybe it's because it's glass all the way to the edges, and then they kind of cut down the bezels. Maybe that's why I think it's okay, but from a screen perspective, you're not going to think this is a bad screen or too small of a screen. The screen to body ratio isn't great, but it still looks amazing. So again, we talked about the specs. The specs are okay, right? The 8 gigs of RAM is one thing that's kind of scaring a lot of people, but build quality is there. It looks amazing. It's still a brand new 2020 Apple computer. But guys, it wasn't until I opened up this computer that everything kind of just went downhill from there. You know, I opened the computer very excited. The last Apple computer I had prior to this one was the 2016 15-inch MacBook Pro with the old butterfly keyboard, and that thing was a tank. That thing brought a terabyte of storage, brought 16 gigs of RAM. I think it was 8th gen processor, so maybe it was a little bit older, but for the time it was amazing. And actually my mom still uses that computer perfectly. And then you have the 2020 MacBook Air, which isn't as big of a tank machine. Obviously it's an Air, so you can't expect the same amount, but also it's 4 years newer. And it's still a $1,300 laptop. It's not like it was only $1,000 or anything like that. But basically, long story short, the 8 gigs of RAM has relegated this computer into being a classy looking netbook or Chromebook, if you guys don't even know what netbooks are nowadays. But this literally can't do more than run 5 tabs at one time. I downloaded Final Cut Pro, but didn't even try opening it because it can't handle more than 5 tabs open at the same time, right? And the reason why the laptop, I guess, is quote unquote needed versus an iPad Pro is because, yeah, you can have a lot of things open at the same time, and when you have secondary monitor support, you technically can, but after you open that 6th tab, or if I have Safari open, one Chrome tab open, a couple messages open, this thing starts to scream in terms of actually physically screaming. It gets loud, and I get notices all over my computer to start closing tabs, start closing applications, because of the fact that the RAM isn't enough. So this is where today's sponsor, Clean My Mac X, actually comes in perfectly, right? So with the 8 gigs of RAM that I have on this MacBook Air, it's been a struggle to run all the applications that I need on a daily basis. So there's one feature on Clean My Mac X that has saved me so much with this computer and is pretty much the main reason why I haven't sold it yet, and it's the free up RAM. So whenever you install Clean My Mac X, you get a little icon on your top toolbar, and if you click that icon, there's an option to free up your RAM. And what it does is it smartly cleans out any RAM that isn't being used and allows you to use that for the things that you're actually going to be using. Now, again, I'm on 8 gigs of RAM, so even if I get half a gig of RAM back, it allows me to use all those tabs that I have open and keep them open, which has been a huge struggle for this MacBook Air. It also has a bunch of other optimization features which I do use on a regular basis. Another one that I used pretty much right away was it was like the uninstaller app, but you can actually go in there and make sure that the apps that you installed don't open up automatically whenever you turn on your MacBook Air, which are applications like Spotify, Outlook, iMessage, all the applications that are gonna slow down my computer when booting up. I turned them off all through Clean My Mac X, which is awesome. And then another big feature of Clean My Mac X is the Smart Scan. So I run the Smart Scan once a week, and that's pretty much just to get rid of any old log files, get rid of old cache, and then also it does a quick scan for any malware on your computer, which, you know, Macs have that tendency to not get as many as Windows, but times are changing and a lot more people have Macs, and a lot more people have time on their hands to hack into Macs. So I always run the Smart Scan at least once a week. So Clean My Mac X is actually an amazing application. I highly recommend it. If you guys are using any type of Mac, download it. It'll save up a lot of that RAM space that we're craving, that we really, really need. And first link in the description below, you guys can try it for free, and then it's 35 bucks a year. So if you break that down, that's like $3 a month. I highly recommend it just to have a little bit of peace of mind and also make sure that your computer is running as smoothly as possible. So if you have a 2015, a 2014 MacBook, I highly recommend getting it so you can kind of clear up all that space and make it run even faster. So thank you so much for Clean My Mac for sponsoring this video. So 8 gigs of RAM in a $1,300 computer, you might as well go buy yourself a $200 Chromebook from Asus or Acer or from Best Buy, because that's what this is. This is good for emailing, this is good for some Google Docs, this is good for some light YouTube watching, some Netflix. I can't edit anything on here. I can't have 3 different PowerPoint slides open, a Word document open, OneDrive connected to the cloud. I can't have all that running at the same time. So both from a corporate perspective and a creator perspective, this thing is terrible. So I cannot recommend this to anybody. So who is this computer for? This computer is for, I guess, high schoolers that want an overpriced computer, college kids that know they're not gonna have any intensive tasks, but at the same time, like, I'm not doing anything intense on this thing, and it's still not a good computer. Like, I wish I could return it, but it's been 3 months at this point, I'm kind of stuck with it. I do think that maybe going with a 16 gig RAM option would have really helped out a lot more, especially when it comes to having all those different applications open. But it just bothers me because I'm not running anything intensive. I'm not rendering anything. I'm not photo editing. I'm running Microsoft Office. I'm running Safari. I'm running Chrome. I'm running the Messages app. I'm on WhatsApp in the web portal. You know, those are the different things that I use, and it's just the 8 gigs of RAM in this computer. It's just not enough, guys. It's not enough to get daily tasks done, and it's very frustrating. So again, who is this computer for? It's for high school students that want to pay extra, college students that think they're not going to need more than 2 tabs open, or for a professional that really doesn't like tablets and they need a thin and portable laptop that can purely just send emails and word process, is my opinion. So, because it's a great typing experience, speakers are great. You know, when you have one thing running, 2 things running, smooth, nice, like no real complaints. But once you start doing too much on it, it's not worth $1,300 to me. It's really not. And I'm a big Apple sheep, guys. I love Apple products, and I can tell you this MacBook Air 2020 is for pretty much no one, in my opinion. And again, this video is an iPad Pro user's perspective. And again, my opinion is the iPad Pro, you know, fist to fist, you know, one application to one application, the iPad Pro wins against the MacBook Air. If I need to get one task done, I'm choosing the iPad Pro over the MacBook Air. And even if it is like a professional task like word processing, or a creator task like editing a video or editing a photo, I'm going to the iPad Pro if it's one task, maybe even 2 tasks. And then the reason why people gravitate to macOS is because they need, which I'm going to show you in B-roll, they need to be able to have a million things open at once. But this computer can't do that. Sure, physically for a second, you can get it visually to do that, but then your productivity slows down, you have to restart the computer, you have to close out tabs, you have to restart, you have to force quit applications. It's just a nightmare, guys. And MacBook Airs, I guess we're waiting for the ARM processors and the ARM silicon chip to go into the new MacBook Airs and MacBook Pros, but I recommend not getting a single MacBook Air in 2020, I guess, unless it has 16 gigs of RAM. So again, iPads are better at one or two things. Macs are supposed to be better at doing more than two things. It's just not this Mac computer, guys. It's not this MacBook Air. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different. I know that I usually don't speak about MacBooks. I'm more of an iPad focused channel, and I'm obviously gonna stay that way, but I did want to give you guys my 2 cents because I have been using this for about 3 months on a daily basis, and I really don't like it, and I don't want you guys going out there and buying one. So that's gonna do it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time.